McCarthy has notified his members to expect a vote on the fate of Conference Chair Liz Cheney tomorrow. And he writes this, quote, "We are a big tent party. All members are elected to represent their constituents as they see fit, but our leadership team cannot afford to be distracted from the important work we were elected to do and the shared goals we hope to achieve." Let's talk about the state of affairs in the GOP right now with Tim Pawlenty. He is a former Republican governor of Minnesota. Sir, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it. And as we look at what McCarthy said there, he also said, quote, "Unlike the left, we embrace free thought and debate." And I wonder, is that how you see what's happening to Liz Cheney, an embrace of her free thought and debate?
Well, first of all, good morning to you and your listeners. And as to Liz Cheney, she is speaking boldly and courageously, but that comes with a price. And the price here is her current position of being number 3 in the U.S. House, number 3 Republican, is a function of her colleagues electing her to that position. And when you lose support of those colleagues, you lose the position. I used to be a majority leader in the Minnesota legislature, and that's the way it works. And those colleagues are really just concerned about making sure that their view of the political landscape in the Republican Party is, comfortable to them, and they're reading it as a Trump party, and that's the reality. So she's going to get tossed out, unfortunately, because she's willing to stand up and take on a prevailing Trump viewpoint.
You ran for president in 2012, and now Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, who is poised to replace Liz Cheney, served as your deputy policy director. She is not the moderate that she once was. I wonder how you are viewing her political move to embrace Trump.
Well, I think both Representative Stefanik and Representative Cheney are both very capable people, but they are now just proxies in this larger battle, really, which is what's going to become of the Republican Party. At the moment, make no mistake, it is still at base a Trump party, but nothing stays the same. It's going to evolve and change as everything does. And I think the more interesting question will be what comes next. And I think the party is not going to be able to just quickly get rid of what was the Trump era. It's going to have to hang on to that, but it's also going to have to regain the support of Republicans and independents that it lost. And that's going to take a new leader that can have a foot in both camps, and hopefully somebody will emerge to do that. Probably most likely the 2024 presidential nominee, whoever that's going to be.
You really think it's going to be that soon? And I ask you because when I read your sort of basically a postmortem that you wrote after the January 6th insurrection, you talk about conservative policy prescriptions for modern problems. You talk about admitting climate change is real. You talk about being more moderate on immigration and just being honest about immigration and the purpose that it serves to the country. I don't see any of that right now happening in the Republican Party, and 2024 is just around the corner. I mean, how does that change so quickly if you're expecting the party to do well in the midterms?
Yeah, short version is President Trump transformed rural politics in America, but at the same time, Republicans lost support in second and third ring suburbs. And so if you're going to regain some of that support in the second and third ring suburbs, you have to modernize. And so, yes, we're against illegal immigration, but we should be for reasonable, orderly, and legal immigration. If done well and done in proper measure, it can be helpful to the country. We need to admit and acknowledge that most of the world scientists are not wrong. Climate change is real and more. But the Republican Party isn't there yet, but they will get there. They're going to temporarily benefit from redistricting, which is going to shift some districts to the south and to the west. Inevitably, the Democrats in total control will overplay their hand, and the door will reopen for Republicans. But long term, Republicans cannot be a majority governing party while losing women support among women so badly, minorities so badly, modest and lower income people so badly, and on down the list. We have to modernize. We have to grow this party, and throwing people overboard is not the way to do it. We need to be the party of addition, not subtraction, and that's why the Liz Cheney, getting tossed overboard is not helpful.
Yeah, well, we are not certainly to the addition unit of the Republican class right now. I will tell you that. Not yet. Governor, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
You're welcome.